Okay, I've had my shot. I've had some breaths. We have survived the Iron Man 3 review. And now we're back for Thor 2, The Dark World, continuing our ongoing series of the journey to Infinity Wars right over there. And that comes out in just less than 2 weeks. 11 days from the recording of this podcast. We're almost there. So excited.
We're very excited.
Thor got a haircut.
Yeah.
All right.
So and his eye back?
We
don't know.
We get to see the continuation of the Loki storyline, what happened after Avengers, because that was a question a lot of people had. What happened to Thor and Loki?
Right. One thing that I appreciate a lot about this film is that it shows more of a side of humility to Loki. Loki's in the prison, and everybody just keeps walking by Loki. Loki's putting on a smoke screen.
Yeah,
right?
A facade.
And Thor walks up to him and tells him to cut the shit. And it shows him, and he's not even there doing what he's doing. He's in the corner. Everything's destroyed around him.
Barefoot.
He's just broken, over the loss of his mother. And it's...
Frigga? I think
Frigga.
I Frigga can't remember.
I don't... you should know, man. You're the geek. I'm kidding. But I really like that film. I love the character ability that it gives to Loki, and it gives you more Loki and more Thor. You see more of Thor, and then we get our first taste of an alien villain, like
the Dark Elves.
Yeah, Malekith and the Dark Elves. It's really cool. It's our introduction
to a second Infinity Stone
to outer space. Really, because Guardians of the Galaxy hadn't happened yet. Everything was mostly centered on Earth. Yes, there are the Chitauri in the Avengers and whatever.
But they came to Earth,
right? So this is the first that we're really getting exposed to there's fucking outer space. You know what I mean?
There's outer space. There's all the other realms because they're from the Dark World,
right?
There's some things that they did well. This is another movie that I feel like suffered from trying to be too much of a punchline throughout it. But some of the things with Thor and Loki faking his own death and all that really worked. And there was the right-hand man of Malekith. I forgot the villain's name. I keep wanting to say Korath, but that's Guardians. But the guy that got the armor, he put the thing inside of himself and then turned into the big buff whatever. That was all practical effects, and I really appreciated how that looked instead of relying on CGI. Looks a lot better to have a guy walking around in a suit.
I don't like what they did with Christopher Eccleston's character, but I did like his performance. I think that, Christopher Eccleston is one of those careful actors that tries to do, and you might disagree with me, but I just think that, I wanted more from him. I wanted it to be better.
They didn't give him much to do.
But I don't think that it was because of him.
No, I think it was Marvel. This movie was the one that made people start to revolt a little bit, or at least come to the conclusion that they didn't really like what Marvel was doing with their villains. Because they weren't writing them. They were making the movie, and what worked about the movies is they're making them all about the heroes. They wrote for the heroes, and they gave the villains very little to do or very little to be, and they weren't given much depth with the exception of Loki. And this was a clear and cut example of that failure to really represent their villains.
Well, right. I think that part of the power struggle was that the villain that they were going to have was always going to be a secondary villain to Loki.
Right.
And so... because in the end, it's gonna the tables are gonna turn. Loki's gonna find a way to snake his way into something, and he does.
Yeah.
So
he takes over Asgard by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We find out. So there's always a plot thickening with Loki, and Malekith was just kind of present. The whole end climax fight was kind of a joke. It was just them falling through wormholes and the hammer trying to get back to Thor, and Kat Dennings was in rare form being the most annoying creature to ever inhabit the screen.
I'm glad that this is the last we see of those characters.
Yeah, both Jane Foster and Kat Dennings, Darcy. Yeah.
Yeah, those characters didn't mesh for me very well. I don't like Thor on Earth.
Stop it.
Like, I mean, I don't care about those people. I don't. That's why Thor Ragnarok was such a huge success for me, is because it went into fucking outer space.
They went to Earth for like 10 minutes, met up with Doctor Strange, and that was about it.
But you're right. But that's what Thor has on everybody, is that he's outside of Earth. We get Earth for everybody else. I'm done. Show me outer space. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy is such a big hit. And so, they don't spend enough time with that in early Thor, and then they were obviously doing their struggle with the villains, where they just use an iconic villain and then kill and recycle. So that's where it had its problems. That being said, I'm probably in the minority in that I liked Thor 2 better than Thor 1.
You are, but it's okay, because my margin on those movies is slim. I prefer Thor 1, but it's not like a huge difference to me. But we did get more Idris Elba. Thank you. We got to see him take down some of those dark elf planes by jumping on an invisible ship with his daggers and taking it out. There was some more interesting fight scenes. I think this movie was more visually entertaining than it was from a story point, and I thought the first movie was more story entertaining than it was from a visual standpoint. That's kind of where I'd leave those at. But that's my last thoughts on Thor: The Dark World. I don't have a lot to say.
Nope. Join us for the next installment in our road to... yeah.
The best movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe!
It's his absolute favorite. He's going to go off about it.
15 minutes!
Captain America, the Winter Soldier. We get our first look that we're going to see. This is probably going to be the best trilogy of our time. And
shit you not.
Dark
Knight can take a nap. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on our road to Infinity War, and may the film be with you. We will see you next time for Winter Soldier.